silver and gold investors are ready for the day when the price skyrockets, when the value skyrockets. But are some scary big things going to happen first for that to be the case? I want you to be the judge. Are we in big trouble right now? Look, we're just going to talk about facts. That's all. But I want you to be the judge. Are we as a nation in big trouble in the United States? And could we be quickly careening towards that day where we are going to see a massive appreciation in the price of silver, in the price of gold, and the price of platinum as well? Look, there's some crazy data coming out right now. We're going to start with you, okay, and me, right? We're the same, right? We're individuals. We're going to talk about what's going on an individual basis in this country with households and see if it gives us an indication as to when things could really blow. But then we're going to widen the picture because we like, I know you're a deep thinker, right? You like to analyze things, and we're going to talk about things on both a national and worldwide basis and see if we can put it all together, right? Come to a conclusion. Are things, I'm asking you, are things maybe even worse than the mainstream media is telling us? Let's focus in on that. Are they putting everybody to sleep? Are you the smart one because you've made the decision? Thank you, Cool Ken, for the super chat. Oh, Cool Ken. Good. Thank you, my friend. Are you the smart one because you got your head pulled out of your sandbox in your backyard and you're looking around and you want to know what's going on? That's why you hold gold. That's why you hold silver. That's why you hold platinum. That's why you own precious metal mining stocks, because you know of the value. But first, is it really that bad? Let's talk about what's going on an individual basis. One of you sent me this article that talked about the state of the U.S. consumer. Guys, the consumer, we're such a debt-driven country, right? Everything runs on debt in this country. And the whole economy, it's all based on magic paper, unicorn, fart dust currency, whatever you want to call it, right? But it's all based on debt. And there are some alarming trends. I want to ask you, are you one of these statistics? And I'm not mad at you if you are, okay? But if you're one of these statistics, you need to be careful because you are on an individual level careening towards some major trouble. We can't necessarily control what goes on a national, international level, but you can control what goes on an individual level. You can be your own central bank. You can protect yourself. Without further ado, let's get right into this because I want to know, do you think this is scary? To me, this sounds scary. And we're going to run through these quickly, but they're startling. And then we're going to talk about even more startling information when we broaden the horizon just a little bit. This came from Zero Hedge, authored by Michael Snyder via the End of the American Dream blog. I'm going to read this quickly. When the U.S. consumer is in healthy financial shape, the outlook for the U.S. economy is generally positive. Yes, we know that because we run on debt here in the United States. We're powered by unicorn fart dust. Maybe that's what we like to call paper money and electronic money to all you new people who are joining us tonight. Unicorn fart dust. Maybe we'll get some t-shirts made up that say powered by unicorn fart dust. All right, no more often. I'm going to stay on track for you guys now. But just like we witnessed prior to the Great Recession of 2008 and 2009, when the U.S. consumer is not in healthy financial shape, bad things tend to happen. Oh, that makes our ears perk up. Bad things, unfortunately. The numbers are telling us that current conditions are eerily similar to what we experienced during the run-up to the Great Recession. Households don't have enough money coming in. Now, you run a household. I run a household, right? It's generally a better concept to have more money coming in than you have going out. It really is that simple, right? Unfortunately, and I know you guys are smart, and I know you're not perfect, and maybe you've made a couple mistakes, right? But there's a lot of other people out there, right, that don't own any silver and gold, and they spend more money than they bring in. I mean, it blows me away. We were just on vacation, right? And I don't know, we were at all kinds of places, and I kept looking at some of these people, and I'm thinking, I wish they had a number above their head, like whether they had a positive net worth or a negative net worth. Because I'm always analyzing for value. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense? Like, there's a lot of people out there that are like stretched. Anyway, I digress. I said we wouldn't do that. Debt levels are soaring. Delinquency rates are rising, and tens of millions of us, and I would put myself in that, are barely scraping by from month to month. Okay? People are hurting. And remember, guys, when this economy, gold and silver, when this economy crashes, gold and silver and platinum are going to skyrocket, okay? It's waiting for it. It's waiting for it. Patiently waiting for it over in the corner, your old friend silver and gold. Now you got to bear with me, and I promise I'll be fast because we got more fascinating things to talk about. Thank you again, Ken, for that super chat. Oh, I got another super chat. Brandon. Thank you, Brandon. Yeah, that's very kind and generous. Never expected, always appreciated. I just paid a lot of money for gas. It cost $80 to fill up a tank of a Honda Odyssey minivan. Okay, I got this. Make sure you're sitting down and think about, are you one of these 9 statistics? Number 1, after adjusting for inflation and taxes, household income in the United States has fallen by 9.1%. I'm not supposed to yell anymore. I'm sorry, I'm yelling. Fallen. It's fallen. I am going to yell by 9.1%. Inflation has killed Americans. Yes, that means that in the last 3 years, basically, you've lost 10% of your, on average, some of us more, some of us less, depending on your personal situation, have lost 10% of their buying power. Isn't it funny, too, that we hear about volume of cardboard boxes being down 10%, and we hear about, what else, trucking volume from the American Trucking Association being down by 10%? But what do we hear from the government? I'm trying not to yell. Well, you know what we hear from the government? Everything's fine. The economy grew at 2.4% during the second quarter. BS. See, I didn't cuss. BP, bull poop. All right? I mean, really? Really? The economy's doing great. We just spent 1.4 trillion more than we brought in, but the economy's great. Everything's wonderful, right? Look the other way. Look, there's a unicorn up in the sky. Okay, number 2, credit card debt has surpassed the $1 trillion mark. I've talked about with you ad nauseum. $1 trillion. If you've got credit card debt, work like heck to pay it off. You don't want any credit card debt, okay? That's the first time ever. And then it says here that total credit card debt, where somewhere in here it says the average rate's over 20%. That's robbery, and I'll leave it at that. Okay, number 3, and again, this shows just individually how screwed up everything is right now on a household basis. Is this you? I don't know, right? The average rate of interest, oh, here it's point number 3, 20%. Now I get all the way to number 4. I'm almost halfway through here. Credit card delinquency rates are hitting levels that we haven't seen in more than, hey, Sharon, thank you. Yes, I'm back in the basement. Thank you, Sharon, for the super chat. Very much appreciated. My good friend, Sharon. Sharon, I hope you don't have any credit card debt. I hope all of you don't. Hey, thank you, Silver State. It's hard for me to. Oh, I'm home now. I can look at my screen. Silver State. Thank you as well. Yell away. I know. I always yell, and then Susie yells at me, and she yells at me. Thank you, Thomas. I think you deserve as a paid subscriber. Oh, well, that's nice. Yeah, I know some people do that. I've considered that anyway. I like to. Thank you, Mark. Wow, you guys are blowing me away. I'm only halfway through the list. Thank you. Sharon, Mark, Thomas. Wow. Okay. The credit card delinquency rates, highest level. Okay, that means people can't afford to pay the debt. This is the crazy one. The number of Americans This is sad that are making emergency withdrawals from their 401k plans is absolutely surging. So guys, we know this is individual. Is this you? Spent through all your savings, racked up your credit cards. So now you're delinquent, right? And you're in big trouble there. And now what do? Thank you, Darcy. Man, thank you guys. Now what do? You dip into your 401k. Oh, I mean, that's what people are doing. It's very sad. Now, more Americans, here. The number of people who made a hardship withdrawal during the second quarter of this year surged from the first 3 months of the year to almost 16,000. An increase, this is crazy, of 36% from a year earlier. 36% more people took a hardship withdrawal, 16,000 people. Number 6, over the past year, it's become much more expensive to purchase a home. Yeah, I mean, guys, if you know anybody who's thinking about buying a house right now, I'm not giving financial advice. If you own a house, if you can, stay in it. But man, buying a house right now, if you've got a house and you've got a 3% mortgage, you're in good shape. Imagine now, I looked, okay? I do research for these videos. 30-year mortgage, 7.6%. Really? Okay? Think about just, 2 years ago, we had 3% mortgages? That means the payment for the same amount of a loan, let's say you borrow $500,000, okay? And 3 years ago, the payment would have been, I don't know what, $4,000, three grand, I don't know, whatever. Now it's likely twice as much for the same amount of money, to borrow the same amount of money. It is, houses are selling because it's just, everything is so screwed up. All right, I digress. The typical US homeowner, is this you? Thank you. Hey, Shadow Work, good to see you. Traded some emails with him today. The typical US homeowner's monthly mortgage payment was $2,600 on July 30th, but up 19% from a year prior. And that's just the average. If you're anyway. Number 7, the nationwide average rent to income ratio has been over 30%. That means if you're renting, you're probably paying over 30% for rent, 30% of your income. Number 8, it has been reported that vehicle repair costs have gone up by almost 20% over the past year. Yeah, so I'll be honest with you guys. I have a Honda Odyssey 2013 with 116,000 miles on it. Last year, we were driving to Wisconsin and the alternator went out on the side of the highway and we were stranded. And my awesome brother-in-law drove down and picked up the, Coin Shop Chris just texted me, did I miss a super chat? Hold on. All right, I'll go back and look. Anyway, I paid $800 this year. I'm driving the car up there. I'm like a nervous wreck. Does anybody else deal with that? Like fear of your car breaking down once you've had a traumatic experience? And I'll be honest with you, a big part of it is me thinking that the car breaks, and I keep thinking I'm hearing funny noises when I'm driving it. I'm like, if the car breaks, it's going to cost me another $1,000. And I am very, very, very frugal. So anyway, that's car repairs. Yeah, it's crazy. And you can't, I don't know about where you live, but the good mechanics where I live here in St. Louis, are you experiencing them? The good mechanics, you call them, and I've known these guys for years, and they're like, Ronnie, we can't get you in. We can't get you in. You got to call like 3 weeks in advance. I mean, it's just crazy. Or you can bring it to the stealership, right? Also known as the stealership, and they'll, fix your car and find 10 other things wrong with it for 10 times the price. I did put a new power steering pump in my we have a 18-year-old Acura, and it's worked. I probably just jinxed it. Okay, I'm done. Number 8. It's been okay, I already read that one. Number 9, and this tells us, is this you? Is it you? Okay? A whopping 69% of all consumers that live in urban areas are currently living paycheck to paycheck. 69% of consumers in urban areas live paycheck to paycheck, which is 25% more than their suburban counterparts, 55% of whom live paycheck to paycheck. Additional, I'm not even going to go on. Rural people are 63. More than half of the people out there are living paycheck to paycheck, okay? So we just talked about the consumer. This is a wonderful, great, it's called Bidenomics. I coined a new term. It's called Bidenom tricks, because it's all a bunch of tricks and smoke and mirrors and borrowed money and horrible. Anyway, it's not a political show. I'm not into politics, but it's not Bidenomics is Bidenom tricks. It's not real. Look at what's going on with people taking money out of their 401ks. 69% of people in urban areas are living paycheck to paycheck. Right? That means they don't have any savings whatsoever. But the economy's great. Everything's fine, right? Okay. All right. CoinShop Chris, I'm going to go back up here and look at the super chat to see if I missed somebody make a comment. Shadow Work, Darcy, thank you. Hey, Mark Razor, finally caught a live stream. Great. Great to be back. Great to be back in the basement. Thank you, Thomas, for your super chat, Silver State. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sharon, as always. Miss Sharon Johnson, a pillar of the Ron's basement dweller community, and Brandon Meeker. Okay, so is it as bad as they're saying? Some people, right, are warning, gloom and doom. It's the end of the economy. Oh my gosh, the end is near, right? The sky is falling. Look, that's for you to decide. What I think is that we're very much more likely closer to the end, to a big, scary economic type event than we're ever going to realize. And don't forget, they're not going to warn you about this on CNBC or CNN, the Children's News Network. It doesn't work that way. So you need to make your own mind up. But think about the economy in the United States, right? Average people don't have money. They don't have any money left. And the Fed's jacking up rates and making things tighter and making things harder. And what are they going to do, right? What are they going to do if we do hit, right? It's going to be print to fest. It's going to be, oh my God, we got 100 thumbs up. Hey guys, for those of you who are new, I ring the bell 10 times when we get to 100 thumbs up. It's a ceremony, a ritual that us basement dwellers enjoy. I think you enjoy it. You can send me an email if you don't. Nonetheless, let me ring the bell. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, because we had 150 thumbs up. Please give this a thumbs up. If you press that thumbs up button, it helps me, it helps the video, and I really would appreciate it. And it gets the word out to more people. As you hit the thumbs up, it's weird, it's interesting, but more people join the live stream. So anyway, if you could do that, that'd be greatly appreciated. So that's the situation there. Now, you still need to make your mind up. Are things really that bad, right? Nobody has any money on an individual household basis. But then let's take a little zoom out. Why don't we? Okay? Because just because all the households are screwed up, just because do you think your government's going to save you? I mean, the government must be in good shape, right? The government's got to be, they can fix it. They can fix everything. They'll take care of you. Guys, and I was listening to Andy Schechtman earlier today when I was driving, but paying attention to the road. Nonetheless, our government has plundered and looted you and me. There's no other way to say it. You've been plundered. You've been looted, because I know you're most likely like me, a hardworking, middle American type person. Those people have looted and plundered you. They put our country, we say, oh, we got 34 trillion in debt, blah, blah, blah. But no, when you factor in everything else, military pensions, all the other pensions and everything else, future obligations, Social Security, we got like 155 trillion in debt. Okay? There's no way that it's ever going to be able to be paid off. And this is fascinating as well. Scary. I think it's scary. You tell me if you think it's scary. of that 34 trillion in debt that your elected officials, those moral compass people, right, that have done so well for you, of that 34 trillion in debt, half of it comes due in the next 2 years. That means that all 17 trillion of it, half of it is going to have to be refinanced. Okay? And right now, that 17 trillion is at a very low rate. Now that rates are up, the rates are much higher. Our interest expense is going through the roof. Just visualize. This is so critical for you to understand. So critical. So critical. Not as critical as loving your family and all that stuff, but this is so critical to understand. You got this massive pile of debt, right? Which is just the small part of it, 34 trillion. You got half of it coming due at higher interest rates. You've got the government over here that's spending more, 1.4 trillion on an annualized basis right now, more than it's bringing in every year. So that's adding to that debt. But on top of that, half that debt has to be refinanced this year. So the interest expense is going to go up, they're saying now, to like over $1 trillion, lickety split. Where's that go? That goes onto the deficit. It's a total doom loop, in my opinion. Now, again, you're here to make up your own mind, right? It's all paper. That's all it is, right? All that money is just paper. It's just paper. It's electronic. CoinShop Chris, he loves to call it unicorn fart dust, right? I like to call it unicorn fart dust as well. I mean, it's just makeup, make believe money, right? But does it? How does it compute with silver and gold and platinum? Right? It doesn't compute. It's not tethered to it. Right? Silver and gold. Look, John Exter wrote the book. He was a Federal Reserve governor. Look him up. You educate yourself if you're interested in this. It's fascinating. John Exter, and he didn't die that long ago, was a Federal Reserve governor. And he wrote the book, and silver and gold are the base of all money. They always have been. They always will be. You know, I was thinking earlier, I got 200 thumbs up already. Okay, now, guys, the other tradition that we do, us basement dwellers, we ring the old cowbell at 200 thumbs up. All right. Thank you, guys. Man, you're awesome tonight. Just showing 400 of you. Thank you. And 200 thumbs up. I'm overwhelmed. And the super chats, thank you so much, guys. That is awesome. So that whole situation is going on now with the government. And what about the overall economy in the United States, right? Yeah. We won't even go there. So we talked about the individual. Should we be scared? Right? They have no money. They have record credit card debt. They've got housing costs that are going through the roof. They can't afford that. What's the other thing that's going to hit the individuals? Right? All these millions of people that have student loan debt. Oh, guess what? It's been put on pause for quite a while. And so now, basically, Abram, I saw your message. I'm going to talk to you about that in a second. Now we've got all these people who are going to be needing to be repaying their student loans. They don't even put that. That's number 10. I need to write that author and tell him, right? You smarty pants. Am I being too loud? Let me get back to my soft voice, okay? Individuals, households, are they in trouble? On a government, on a national basis, are we in trouble? On a worldwide basis, now look, I could go on forever. Trying to talk in my library voice right now. We could go on forever about what's going on a worldwide basis, a geopolitical basis, if you will, right? I mean, guys, it's and Andy Schectman has some great videos out recently. He really, really knows his stuff, and I'm sure you know who Andy Schectman is. He's talking about, we all talk about the BRICS, right? And what's going on there. It's like, if it depends on how you add up 40 or so countries that are going to be at this big meeting. On top of that, right? If you add up the other countries, the Shanghai Cooperation, we'd never heard of this stuff, right? Have you ever heard of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization? It's like this, it's a group, another group. You got the Belt and Road Initiative guys. You got all these organizations coming together, and we don't know, are we going to get a gold-backed currency? What do you think, right? We were fed this story a few weeks ago that, yes, we were. Now it's kind of the feeling that, no, we're not. It doesn't really matter if that gets announced on August 22nd, okay? It doesn't matter. What matters is the momentum of countries around the world, whether you want to say it's 60, 70, or 80% of the world's population that's explicitly coming together, uniting with the idea that they want to get out from underneath the hegemony of the U.S. dollar, the power, the control of the U.S. dollar. So is it going to happen? I think Andy Schectman said, yes, he thinks eventually it will happen, that we will see a gold-backed currency. I don't, I'm up in the air. Maybe we'll get it. Maybe we'll get it just here in what's today? The 13th, 9 days from now. We could get an announcement. He brought up another great point, okay, which is they don't usually like to telegraph, right? The world, I mean, when's the last time there was a major announcement and it was telegraphed in the world? So who knows what games they may be playing, right? They're used to an environment where games are played. So maybe we will get it, but eventually we're going to get some type of currency. Now, some people are bringing up even a more interesting prospect, that these BRICS countries, like, why do they need a gold-backed currency? Why don't they just use gold? That was interesting when I heard that, right? Why don't they just use gold or silver, gold and silver? They don't have to worry about developing a currency between them. They could just use gold. Imagine if that were to happen. And, that's all I listened to for 2 hours, so it was fascinating. Don't forget, right? We know the world central banks are buying gold, okay? We talked about that ad nauseum. But they're buying more gold now. Have you thought, what does this mean to you when you hear this statement? The world central banks are buying a record amount of gold. Okay. Right? Yeah, whatever, Ron, whatever. Just some dude in his basement. Hey, thank you for the super chat. Hold on. Let me get the name. Oh, boy. Everything's all screwed up here in the basement today. It's going to show up there. Clarity Jane. Thank you. Clarity Jane. I bet are you a lady stacker, Clarity Jane? We're going to talk about that a little bit later. So I tell you, the world central banks are buying a record amount of gold. Big deal, Ron. Right? What does that mean for my silver? What does that mean for my platinum? Blah, blah, blah. I want you to think about this next statement regarding the world central banks buying gold. Now, 2 statements. I got a bonus statement for you. This is not the kicker statement. This is the little statement. If the world central banks are buying gold, they are the most sophisticated financial institutions in the world. Think about that. But I got the big major kicker, and it's leaving my mind. It's going to come back. Clarity Jane, yes, is a female stacker. Wow, man, it is just great. Oh, the big kicker, the big kicker, right? They're buying more gold now than they did when the world was on the gold standard. Think about that for a little bit, all right? And if you don't want to think about it now, think about it later. But what does that mean? That right now, 2023, they're buying way more gold than they did during the period of time when we were on the gold standard. And, that's what I keep talking about Andy Schectman, but he said we got to look at the crumbs of information they're leaving us, right? Like, they're not going to tell us. What does that tell us? The world central banks are buying. It tells me that something's up. Something's got to be up. They're buying more gold now than they were when we were on the gold standard. Are you kidding me? Something's got to be up, right? I don't know, right? Are we in trouble? I don't know. Maybe we're not in trouble if we own some precious metals. I don't know. What's the other big one? The other big crumb. I love this, right? I forgot about this. The BIS, the whatever, the BLS, the World Banking Association, whatever, they changed the status of gold to a tier 1 asset. That means it's like equal to cash. What does that tell us? What does that tell us? I don't know, right? It's interesting, guys. It's super interesting times. Hey, thank you again, Clarity Jane. Clarity Jane is part of the Lady Stacker. What does this tell us? Millennials are buying more. Young people, guys, I don't know. This is new news just in the last month. Young people are buying more gold. Yeah, it's mostly through ETFs, but I'm talking to my guys in the business, and they're telling me that a lot of these young kids are stacking silver bars and silver coins as well, okay? Young people in America waking up, right? I talked to Bobby, my nephew, my cousin's son, my first cousin once removed, I think is technically correct. Super sharp young guy. Yeah, right? He's interested in silver. I'm like, I would have never thought. I don't see him that often. He's a wonderful guy, very smart, very successful. He's probably, I think he's 28 or 29, just had a baby, right? And he's like, oh, I know about your channel. He's like, has an interest in precious metals. I'm like, really? Because I don't bring it up. I'm telling you. This is some of the best advice I could ever give you, okay? If somebody asks you about precious metals, let them have it. Give them, it's fun, right? But whatever you do, to avoid personal frustration, don't talk about precious metals with your random relatives and neighbors or whatever, unless they ask you about it, because you're only going to get yourself very, very frustrated. Yes, we are, Lady Clarity Jane. We are so excited that you're here. You know why, guys? Because it's not just the young people who are new. Okay, think about this. We also have a big influx of what I call lady stackers. As a matter of fact, June 14th is International Women's Silver Day. That's from Ron's basement anyway. And we're going to do something big. I got a lot of time to prepare. But nonetheless, we got more women coming into stacking. In India, the young people are getting into silver, is what I'm hearing, right? You got to be kidding me. I can't believe we got 472 people in the basement. Oh, wow. Thank you, guys. You are awesome. All right, guys, if there's anything, can you please say inconceivable? Yes, inconceivable. I say a lot of things wrong. Trust me, you can bug me about it. Susie always gives me a hard time about it as well. Inconceivable. For those of you who don't know, Susie is my wife. She's a very integral part of the channel, and she hates the fact that I wear this red shirt, but CoinShop Chris calls me Red Shirt Ron. What the heck, right? We can't... All right, big news. Big news, guys. Big news. Big news. And then we're going to wrap it all up, but I got big news. Hold on. Here, I'll read it. I'll read this to you. It's so big. This is big. Hold on. Me and technology. All right. Hold on here. Here we go. Headline. Zimbabwe prepares for the launch of its gold-backed digital currency. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, easy for Ron to say, is in the advanced stages of its plan to launch a gold-backed digital currency. What do you think about that? Remember, Zimbabwe had major inflation issues, right? And they're taking steps, concrete steps, to deal with that. This week, the governor of central bank revealed the tokens, the equivalent of 325 kilograms of gold, have already been issued. Here's the big key on all these. I'm gonna dig into this more. It was first announced in April. Everybody, I know, don't get mad at me. I don't know how you feel about gold-backed digital currencies. Okay, but I'll say this. I think possibly it's the future of gold. And this is why. If, don't get mad and hang up on me yet, okay? If there's actual regulation and the gold is proven to be there, audited, right? Look, guys, I don't want to brag. I try to keep this show very down to earth and funny, and we have a good time. We do talk about facts. We love to talk about silver and gold. Almost knocked my juice over. Hold on here. Let me have a drink of juice. Okay, but I used to be an auditor. I worked for a Big Four accounting firm, Deloitte and Touche, for 9 months before I quit because I couldn't stand it. But I have a degree in accounting from a prestigious university and worked for one of the fancy Big Four firms. Blah, 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 whatever. But I'm telling you, if we could get a gold-backed, silver-backed, platinum-backed digital currency, but here's the big but. Maybe I got to do it here in the basement and have it all stacked up behind me. But you can audit it and be assured that for each one of those tokens, right, that there's a represented amount of gold, silver, or platinum, whatever it's supposed to represent. And if you want access to it, that you can show up and say, here I am, I want to trade in my token for my silver, my gold, my platinum, whatever it may be. That could be the future. I know if you don't hold it, you don't own it. I understand completely, but you got to think about that part of your money that you use for day-to-day transactions, right? When you take your wife or husband, because we got a lot of lady stackers here, out to dinner, right? You don't want to drag along a 10-ounce bar of silver or, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And, the future is electronic. But, you can still stack and hold your silver. You can look, I love this stuff. I love it. Look. Who doesn't love that? That's a 10-ounce silver bar, right? You love it. I love it. Okay? But when you go out to dinner or you go to Home Depot to buy some 2x4s or whatever, you don't want to lug a bunch of gold and silver with you. You want to be able to use it to be able to pay. So Texas is talking about this, but the big key is that it can be audited. Just like, maybe we need to talk to our friends at the Treasury Department and ask them why we can't audit the gold that's in Fort Knox. It's our gold, right? I think we should be able to see it, hear it. Yeah, I was thinking, somebody start a gold, silver-backed currency. If I start Roncoin, which I don't have any plans on doing or anything like that, but if I did Roncoin, right, and each one was worth an ounce of silver, and you had a live stream going all the time, and you could see the silver, you could audit it, you could show up, whatever. And there are some companies doing that. UPMA up in Utah, you can go visit there if you own, and you can go visit their vault. So, I don't know, guys. I really believe that could be the future of what we're going to see within the precious metal sector. So when everything gets nasty out there, all right, are you prepared mentally for nastiness? Like we can dream about, like what would we, but you got to be prepared. You have to be prepared mentally for what you may do in the event that things get bad, because we talked about earlier, the consumer households in the United States are under tremendous amount of stress, right? People are under a lot of stress. I'll tell you what happened real quickly. When we were in Wisconsin, we were at Lake Geneva. It's like the nicest, super nice part of Wisconsin. Anyway, I dropped Susie off at Aldi because she was going to make her famous taco salad for everybody for dinner. And I dropped her off, and then I was going to go get gas, and it was one of those intersections where it's like, oh, it's just a mess, I just want to go from here to there, but I had to go through 5 stoplights. Well, anyway, I'm in the Aldi parking lot, and I was, those stop signs where when you're in a parking lot where it seems like the guy coming the other way should have a stop sign and you shouldn't, but the opposite's true. Well, that kind of happens. This older man, older than me even, he was pissed, I'm like, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, whatever. And he drove by and looked at me, and I was like, I'm sorry, dude. Like, have you noticed that? People are on edge out there. Well, then I finally get to the damn gas station, spent, like I said, $80, I don't know, $90, fill up the tank. I'm like, does this tank ever get full? You ever had that experience? Because in my mind, I'm thinking this should be about 60, and it wound up being 80 or 90. Anyway, I'm going to get to the end of the story, and then we're going to talk more about silver and gold. Well, then I went to go back, which wasn't as hard, but Evie, my daughter, and I are in the car, and we're at the stoplight, and the guy in front of me, we're trying to make a right turn, and he doesn't make a right on red, and I'm like, I'm not in a big hurry, no big deal. Well, then the light turned, a green arrow, and I just beeped the horn once, like beep, and it was like this 24-year-old young man and his buddy, and he, like, I can't do it, but he, like, put his arm up between his seat and then raised one of his fingers at me. People are on it, and I mean, like, and then we were pulled up next to him at the next thing, and I told Abby, I said, just don't look at him. Like, what's the point? Right? But people are nuts. And I'm like, I don't know, the guy have a gun? I'm going to get shot over beeping my horn? I don't know. People are crazy. We got 300 thumbs up. We got 494 people. Guys, we've never gotten to 500. Can we do it? Please don't get off the live stream. I got to be honest with you. It's been a goal of mine for years, a lifetime. I'm going to ring the bell with my nose. 1, 2, 3. All right. We talked about this. The consumer, people are angry, right? And then Susie did make that taco salad. It was awesome, by the way. I'll tell you more about that later. But people are on edge. Households. Is it you? Are you one of them? Are you? Are you one of the people? If you are, take steps to get yourself right. If you aren't one of those people, are you taking money out of your 401k? Are you living on credit cards? Are you spending your savings? Right? And I feel for you. I understand. But, be prepared. Do the best you can to get yourself out of debt and be prepared. But so is it that bad? Next, we talked about the government, right? Our government, it is that bad. Our government is that bad. They really are. They stink. They're doing a horrible job, and it's despicable is the only thing that I can say. So you got the people that are doing poorly, and then you got the government. They're not going to save them, right? And then you broaden it out to a worldwide basis. The world's turning on the United States. The world is like that guy at that stoplight did to me, gave me one of his fingers to look at. The world seems to be doing that to the United States right now. Oh, we got 500 people. All right, guys, thank you. I know it's dumb, but it's a big deal. I've always wanted to get 500 people on a live stream. Thank you for being here. So is it that bad? Is it really that bad out there? I think it is. I am being prepared. I am out of debt. Are you out of debt? Are you prepared? Are you mentally prepared for what might happen? That's the big deal. That's the big thing that you got to think about, okay? Because the world is changing. President Xi in China, right, is buddies with Vladimir Putin from Russia. Okay, they are. And when he was leaving their last meeting, when Putin was leaving China or Xi was leaving Moscow, whatever it was. I don't know which way it was. Anyway, one of them said to the other, the world is changing now like never before in our lifetimes. And we are at the forefront of what is going on. So we've got big changes afoot, right? All these little things. We got to keep an eye on all the little hints that are given to us. All that stuff we went through about the consumer. All that stuff we went through about the U.S. Government. All the things going on in the world. Here's the big kicker. I'll end with, this is big. This is the big kicker in the world. And nobody's talking about this. I mean, nobody's talking about it. But it's the biggest kicker of all because everybody's focused on BRICS, and BRICS meeting, GoldBacked Currency. They're going to have it. And yes, it's probably going to happen at some point. Absolutely. Okay. It probably is. But nobody's talking about Saudi Arabia. And guys, that's the biggest thing going right now, because they have pretty much officially told Bidenomics to go take a leap. Okay, they're done dealing. They're no longer. Read about the petrodollar, right? The oil has been traded in only the dollar since 1974, when Henry Kissinger went to Saudi Arabia and said, hey, I'll give you two choices. Either you only sell oil in dollars and we'll protect you, or you're not going to like the other option. And that's what they did. But they've grown fed up. Plus, there's all the Western countries want to get away from oil, right? So why would the Saudis want to be allied with the U.S.? But that's given the United States, because all the oil in the world was sold in dollars. That gave us a huge benefit. All those dollars had to go somewhere, and they all came back to the United States. It allowed us to rack up this crazy debt, to live beyond our means. And that's changing also. I mean, they're going to call it BRICS, like bricks with two S's at the end, because the Saudis are totally aligning themselves with China, with Russia, with the Eastern countries. They're brokering peace deals over there between countries that have been fighting, like Iran and Iraq. It's just crazy. And that's a big deal as well. So when we look at it all, should we be scared? That's up to you, right? I choose to take my head out of the sand. I don't know that I'm scared, but I'm alert. We want to be alert. We want to keep, because we know silver and gold have held their value for thousands of years. What seems crazy to you, does it feel crazy to you right now? Lynette Zhang told me the other day, it feels crazy because we're at the end. Does it feel crazy, right? So it feels crazy maybe to you and me. It does feel crazy, right? I know you probably think I'm a little crazy. I won't comment on that. Nonetheless, what seems crazy to you and me, guess what? I got news for you. It's not crazy to silver and gold. They've seen this scenario play out hundreds of times over the years. They've seen every political party, every type of war, conflict. But you know what? They've always held their value, and they always will. Hey, guys, thank you for being here. It's been awesome. Thanks for being part of, to me, it was a record-breaking live stream. So really appreciate it. You are the best. I'll see you soon. Take care.